journey. So I'm going to talk about Pakistan, some of the extremely unique features of Pakistan, and then I'll show you a presentation, I'll show you a behind-the-scene video, and some pictures about type of the terrain, the incline, and then and at the end we'll have a question and answer session for about 10 to 15 minutes. So, कोई क्या कहे, क्या क्या कहे, कितना कहे और कब कहे. It can take hours to talk about my trip, its planning, its preparations, and all the things that we needed, our personal belongings, our electronics, and the mountain gears like glacier goggles, like water-resistant jackets, hats, gloves, and our electronics like cameras, our flashes, our lenses, and that's about the trip, and also about the book. It needs hours and hours. I'll try to sum up all of that in about 30 minutes or so. So here is my presentation. Pakistan is blessed with some of the world's most spectacular and singular landscape and unparalleled beauty on earth. Here is the glimpse. The highest mountains, the loftiest peaks in the world. Pakistan has 7 among the top 20 mountains in the world. And in fact, 21 and 22 and then 23, they are also in Pakistan. The tallest mountain in Pakistan is K2, which is the second tallest in the world. If we look at its height, it's just about 700 feet less than Mount Everest. But it's technically much, much more difficult to climb. The example is like Mount Everest has been climbed about 12,000 times until August last year, and K2 has been climbed only 800 times. It's a very, 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 very difficult mountain to climb. Even to reach at the base camp, as you will see as we go along, you will get the sense how difficult it is to get even to the base camp. Where mountains meet, this should be the name of a Hollywood movie. So Pakistan is the place where world's greatest mountain ranges, Karakoram, Himalaya, and Hindu Kush meet. It's at this place. This is called Jagalot, which is about 40 to 45 miles south of Gilgit. And this is also the place where mighty river Gilgit and also Sindh River they meet. Gigantic and mammoth glaciers. Pakistan has 4 among the 7 largest glaciers outside the polar region. There have been several reports and articles about all of what I'm seeing by the authorities in the field. For example, there were several articles about the glaciers of Pakistan in New York Times, Washington Post, that Pakistan has more glacial land than any country on earth. These glaciers are Baltoro, Biafio, Hispar, and Siachen, which is Siachen is half in India and half in Pakistan, and other 3, they are all in Pakistan. If we look at the sizes, they are the total size is very, very close to each other. Like the next one will be just, let's say, 5 miles larger than. And that also is the case which other four which are larger than these glaciers. This is the part of the Baltoro Glacier. Eighth wonder of the world, which is Parakram Highway, also called Shahra-e-Resham. This is the highest metal road in the world. Even today, the road of this magnitude, the road of this size, and road which can handle the goods, the commercial transport of this nature, it's about 16,000 feet from the sea level. I'll give you an example. The highest mountain in the whole of Western Europe is Mount Blanc, which is just 15,000 high from the sea level. Only 15,000 high. And the highest mountain in the Rockies, in the Rocky Mountains, in Colorado, in the whole area of Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah, Mount Albert, which I did in 2017, is just 14,000 feet from the sea level. And this is the road which winds up to 16,000 feet. And at the highest point, its height is 16,000 feet from the sea level at the Hinjara Pass, which is the border of China and Pakistan. That's also part of KKH. And also, as we travel on KKH, we can see the old historic romantic Shahra-e-Resham. पहाड़ों पे देखें left और right side पे the original remnants of the romantic Shahra-e-Resham are still there. The world's highest polo ground. That's also in Pakistan. So this was established by the Prince of Chitral, I believe in 1935. And polo in Balti means ball. So this is the highest polo ground. There are so many other festivals which take place on this ground other than the polo matches. And Deoside Plains. This is the highest plateau in the world. The first one is at Chinese-Tibetan border, which again in size, it's very close to this plateau. This is a very, very rare piece of land on the planet Earth because of its rich zoological life, a very, very rare insects, reptiles, and especially the brown Himalayan bear, which I think is a species in extinct, and only 200 or 300 bears are left, and that they are all in Deoside Plains. And it also has huge geopolitical and military importance in the area. This plain is the backyard of Pakistan, India, and China. This is also Deoside. So this is the map of our trip. Starting from here, Islamabad, Skirdu. This is a 55 minutes flight. This is a 55-minute flight, and it's considered one of the most exciting airline trip in the world. Why? It offers you splendid scenery and the views of some of the tallest mountains from just a stone's throw away. If you look through the windows of the plane, you will see scores of mountains, named mountains, unnamed mountains, extending infinitely on the horizon. Worth mentioning here is the very, very close views of Nanga Parbat. Nanga Parbat is the 9th tallest mountain in the world, and it's number 2 in Pakistan. This mountain was the darling of mountaineers and trekkers in 70s and 80s. There are a lot of movies. I remember 3 movies, very, very good movies were filmed on this glorious mountain. Especially, I would like to mention the name of Mr. Reinhold Messner, who is considered to be the greatest mountaineer of all time. He was the first human who climbed all 14 mountains called 8,000ers. These are the mountains which are 8,000 meters or above. It's about 26,000 feet from the sea level. He was the first person who climbed all of these mountains without supplemental oxygen. From Skardu, this is 55 minutes flight, and then from Skardu to Ascoli. This is about 70 miles only, but it takes the whole day. The jeep, you'll see some videos. The jeep covers only 10 miles per hour. So it took us the whole day from Skardu to Ascoli. Now Ascoli is a very, very interesting place. It has a small campsite, the only campsite where everybody has to stay overnight. And you might bump into world's renowned mountaineers, trekkers, filmmakers, guides, directors, and others, because everyone has to stay in that small campsite at Ascoli. Another feature of this place, that after Ascoli, from here till the base camp, there's no human habitat, there are no roads, there's no electricity, there's no internet. It's a total wilderness. It was me, my friend Dr. Irfan. I had 4 horses, 5 porters, a guide, a cook, which was both guide and cook, and we traveled all of these areas for about, it took about 14 days altogether. So Julda is the first stop, then Payo, then Urkodas, then Goro, Concordia, and the base camp. The most difficult part is Urkodas to Goro. It's here in this part that a lot of people, they turn back. It's very, very strenuous, and I'll tell you, I will share more as we go along. So this is the first day, the first part of the first part of the trek, and also the first day of the journey. So this is we landed at Skardu Airport, and I just mentioned about the airline flight. So this is the picture of jeep drive from Skardu to Ascoli. Yes. This is the village of Ascoli I mentioned, the small campsite where everyone has to stay. So look at this picture. Concordia track marks its beginning with gorgeous scenery, as if natural paintings and murals have slowly started unfolding before you. So this is the track. Okay, the first part of the track from Ascoli to Julda. This is also on the way to the first stop. Dambardo River again part of the first. So there's a small registration area by the government of Pakistan where everyone has to stop and get registered. Who is leaving, who is coming back, for how many days, they're all the, the whereabouts. Jula Bridge, the first stop, this is Jula, the stop is here. The first camp, I'll show you. Yeah, so this is the only stop on the way which has toilets and running water. This is the first stop at Jula, which is about 11 to 12 miles. After that, you are at your home. Yeah. So Jula to Payo, another representation of the type of landscape you see. This is day 4. The first emergence of Triangle Towers. Triangle Mountains are the hallmark of the track to base camp. They are with the trekkers and mountaineers for about 2 days. They travel with you. The wide angle view of the Triangle Towers, Triangle Mountains. Yeah, so this is the end of the second day, and the camp is here, somewhere here high up. This was the most sternest day on the track until then. And when I reached at the campsite, there's no established campsite like we have in Jula. There's just a space where you can open up your tents and stay overnight. When I reached there, it seemed to me that I consumed the last molecule of my ATP. I had no energy after reaching there. This is another view. This part of Triangle Towers, but since it looks like at the top of a cathedral, they have named these mountains as cathedral views. So this is Longsang Spire. One of the mountains which is about 18,720 feet, 724 feet high from the sea level. So this is Payo Peak. Payo is a group of mountains, and Payo Peaks is the highest mountain in the group. The locals believe that the snow on the top of the mountain is not snow, rather salt, and it slowly drips down to the base. Triangle Castle, if you look at the top of the mountain, it looks like a castle. So this is, please take a pause here. So Triangle Castle, it looks like a castle. Triangle Towers represent a geological phenomena called massif, M-A-S-S-I-F, which means during the time of evolution, when our Mother Earth was going through big earthquakes, some of these mountains, they moved from point A to point B in groups, like jointly, like co-joint. So these mountains, they moved, a lot of these mountains probably in Triangle Mountains, they moved together, which is called massive. So this, you see, it seems like several mountains together. So Trango Mount, Trango, Nameless, and Great Trango, these are the names of these mountains. And they have some of the highest vertical cliffs and highest vertical faces in the world. There's a similar region in Italy, in the south of Italy, near its border with Hungary, and that's the place where the greatest mountain of all time, Robert Messner, was born. These mountains are called Dolomites, and this part of the Trango Towers, it looks like Dolomites. So he practiced to be a mountaineer in areas like this. There are several books written on him, which are available on all platforms. So jubilant faces of a fellow trekking group on the way to Concordia, they were from Japan. And these two gentlemen, they were also en route to Concordia, they were from Poland. That's the beginning of Baltoro Glacier. Baltoro is one of the 4 largest glaciers in Pakistan. Baltoro has been filmed, has been talked, have been broadcast, telecast the most. And I'll talk more about this. See several pictures. This is also Baltoro. This is Baltoro Glacier, the picture here. And this picture here, that's where Baltoro starts. So this is another very, very difficult part of the track. It's on day 4. There's a rapid ascent and on the track, which marks the beginning of the Baltoro Glacier. That's Baltoro Glacier. Okay. Now look at this picture. One of my favorite, excellent, color of contrast. It has emerald green lagoon and majestic biopeak and glaring blue sky and milky clouds. Excellent contrast of light and shade and colors. This is our visit, our camp on day 4th. A little dancing. There's a video also behind the scenes. You will see live dances. Pakistan Army helicopter. Pakistan, there are army posts on every 10 miles on the track. And there are communication wires on the track starting from Skoli to the base camp. The reason there's only a small range of Himalaya between this track and the Indian held Kashmir and very, very sensitive areas where the fight is still going on. So there are Pakistani army posts on every 10 miles. Another one of my favorite pictures, mountains wrapped in snowy clouds on the glacier track. This is also Baltoro Glacier. Baltoro Glacier. Urqudas, just stop it, can you please? So this was what I just talked about. Urqudas to Goro is considered one of the most difficult part of the hike, the track, because of its angle of inclination, and also it's all snow, just like an inch below this rubble, this gritty surface that we see, it's all snow beneath there. That's that's the picture over there. That's Baltoro Glacier. Just stop it here. So most of the glaciers on Earth outside the polar region, they are in retreat. Partly because of the climate change, the global warming. There have been studies that Baltoro Glacier moves about 5 to 6 feet every day. It's moving 5 to 6 feet every day. You can imagine, and then think about the global warming and the floods and all of that that could Pakistan could face in the future. Oh, so Goro campsite. Yes. So Goro campsite, this was established by Duke of Abruzzi. Duke of Abruzzi is a very, very significant name in mountaineering, especially mapping and surveying this part of the world. He was Duke of Abruzzi, who came here like 150 years ago, and he mapped all of these regions. You look at how much time and difficulty we faced. I did this trip in 2015, and that gentleman, he came to this region about 150 years ago. He established this track, this camp, Goro campsite. This camp has one of the most dramatic mountain scenery on the planet. You are seeing Mashobrum Peak, which is 22nd tallest in the world. You have heard K1, K2, but I know many might have heard about K1. Mashobrum Peak is K1. And this is 22nd tallest mountain in the world. We also have K3 and K4, which are in the region, in the same region where Concordia is. I'll try to show you some pictures. And we had the coldest night here. I think it was minus 15. I had a little stomach upset. And the thing which I never forget related to this Goro campsite was hair-raising sounds of avalanches and winds throughout the night. We had sleeping bags which could handle up to minus 20 degrees centigrade. We had that tent. I was wearing layers and layers of clothes, and even then I was shivering. I think I slept only for 2 to 3 hours during the whole night on Goro camp. This is Mashobrum Peak, majestic Mashobrum, which is 22nd tallest in the world. Interestingly, as I mentioned in the beginning, Pakistan has 7 among the 20 tallest mountains. 22nd and 23rd, they are again in Pakistan. This is 22nd, Mashobrum, also called K1. K1, yeah, the gentleman, let me go. So, yeah, so this is Concordia. I'll show you a lot of other pictures. There are 14 8,000ers in the world. 8,000ers are the mountains which are 8,000 meters or above, 26,000 feet and above. There are 14 of them, and 5 are in Pakistan. They are very, very dangerous mountains. These are the only mountains with death zones. Why they have death zones? Because it's unable to live there without supplemental oxygen. They have only 30% of the oxygen as it is on the sea level, only 30%. They have death zones. And Concordia is the only place on the planet, in the entire world, where one can see 4 among these 14 tallest mountains in the world. They are right in front of you. I'll show you the panoramic view and also show you 360-degree view of the Concordia. That's Concordia. Okay, so K2. So I think in the book, my book I wrote, K2 is a shy mountain. It likes to cover itself with the clouds all the time. This is a very, very good, those are view of K2. Okay, so K2, when you enter Concordia, you see a K2 on your right side, then you see Broad Peak. Broad Peak is 12th tallest mountain in the world, and this mountain, this is Geshebrun 2. There's another mountain behind this one. That is 11th tallest mountain in the world. That's called Hidden Peak because we are unable to see it. That's hidden peak, which is 11th tallest in the world. Then we have Broad Peak, which is 12th highest mountain in the world. And then we have this one, which is in front of us. This is 13th tallest mountain in the world. Geshebrun 1, Geshebrun 2, and Broad Peak. This is the closer view of the 13th Geshebrun 2, 13th highest in the world. And they are all in front of you at Concordia. This is Broad Peak, 12th highest mountain in the world. So next part of the presentation, photographer of the book Irfan Mirza. I'll come back, then I have to show you some more pictures. I have to show you a behind the scene video, and then the type of terrain, the nature, and there are very, very interesting pictures at the end. Thank you. Over to Irfan.
Hi, sorry, Mr. Mirza, we can't hear you. Sorry, Mr. Mirza, we might need you to start over.
You can hear me or not?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
full preview करते हैं preview को full
It was really wonderful listening to Dr. Javaid sharing the memories of our unforgettable trip. It truly was one of the most remarkable experiences of our lives. I remember when we were just a couple of hours away from Concordia, we met an expedition which was returning from Concordia. They looked very tired and disappointed. I asked them, "Did you see K2?" The guy was silent and didn't give a reply. There was a porter behind him who said, "We stayed there for a week but couldn't see the peak K2." Peak K2 was right in front of them, but they couldn't view the K2. K2 is said to be shy mountain, as it is most of the time covered with clouds. When we reached Concordia Valley, situation was same, and I started crying. I prayed to God, please God help me. Please take these clouds away. After that, I went into my camp and tried to take a nap. After an hour or so, I came out and saw that the clouds were moving away. It was the most beautiful moment of my life. We saw K2, and then it was me, the peaks, and my camera. After capturing the gold-laden sunset, I slept and woke, after an hour or so. So when play please. Play. Can I play? When I came out of the tent, I was greeted by a heavenly view. It was a complete moonless night, and complete Milky Way arch was above me. I couldn't believe my luck. Though your skill is very essential for the epic way, most of all, it is luck. But let me tell you one thing. Of course, luck does not find you. Rather, you have to go out and find it. Luck can't come to you if you don't try. I took out my camera, got it set on the tripod, and started shooting. Temperature was in minus 5 to 7. Strong chilly wind was blowing, and the sound of wind, otherwise in those deserted places, very dreadful, was music to my ears. I am so thankful to God who gave me that beautiful night and the chance to shoot this beautiful creation and blessing of His. These are different views of different perspectives of Milky Way. That's rising from the broad peak. Anyways, this is called Star Trail. Actually, this pic was captured 40 to 50 minutes long exposure. And during that exposure, the movement of stars is captured. All the stars move around the North Star. And while they are moving, the circular shape is made. And the shadow of Milky Way is also seen behind. So, thank you, all of you, for being here. In behind the scene video, you will see we're meeting with and shaking hand with some porters and talking. It is the same expedition I was talking about. They couldn't see the K2. Thanks again for being here as we are reliving our wonderful memories from the most cherished trip of our life. From here on, Dr. Javaid will continue again. Thanks.
So the kind and nature of the terrain and hike. So this track is considered the most formidable track in the world. It's much difficult than all tracks to other highest mountains, including Everest and all the others. It's because this angle of inclination. Can you stop here, please? It's awfully rugged. It's very difficult. It's arduous, and it has all different kinds of surfaces like sandy, gravel, gritty, water, and maybe combination of all of these phenomena, as you will see. So it's about the type of terrain that I'm going to show you now. No, I think we have to move on where Irfan left. Yeah. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Yeah. So it's all different types of varied landscape you will see. This is plain, easy part of the track, just like kind of a little sandy and with stones. Yeah. All different types of terrains. Okay, so now we'll show you the height, the pitch, and the incline, and the level of inclination. Look at these pictures. So we are here. The next picture is going to show you we are here, and then at the top. So please take a closer look at the next three pictures. And that's where we are at the top. The type of glaciers and the character of the surface. This is all Bel Toro Glacier in different formations. So Bel Toro. So the name Concordia means where two or more glaciers meet. So Concordia is the convergence of Bel Toro Glacier and Goodwin-Austen Glacier. Goodwin-Austen was another name in geology and surveying. Goodwin-Austen, interestingly, was the first name of K2, because it was that gentleman who mapped this area, and he mapped the height of K2. So the first name of K2 was Mount Goodwin-Austen, and then it was named K2 when the whole area was surveyed again. And that's the Bel Toro. So Concordia is formed by the confluence of Bel Toro Glacier and Goodwin-Austen Glacier, which flows from K2, a ridge called Abruzzi Ridge. Abruzzi, as I mentioned earlier, was the gentleman who initially, first person who mapped this area, and Abruzzi Ridge is the place from where the actual climbing from base camp to second camp starts. That area is called Abruzzi Ridge. So this is all Bel Toro Glacier. This is Bel Toro. 2/3 of the track is on Bel Toro Glacier. Now the 360 view degrees, could you please pause it here? As I mentioned, as we enter, that's the significance of this place. As we enter into Concordia, and we have the first view of Concordia, we have K2 on our right side, the distant mountain, and then we have Broad Peak, and then Gishebru 1 and 2, and on the other side, it's Mitre Peak. This area is also called the roof of the world, and also the mountaineer's paradise. Some have characterized it as the throne room of the mountain gods. And some tourists have characterized it as visit to Concordia as the pilgrimage to the throne room of the mountain gods. It's a truly mystic, utopian, and sublime place where you stand in the middle of a triangle looking at all of these world's tallest mountains right in front of you. And I wanted to be there on Chand Ki Chaudhwi Raat, the night we spent on Concordia wasn't the Chaudhry Raat, it was 10th night, but we had 65 and 75 to 75% of the moonlight. I'll read a page from my book about the night we spent at Concordia. But first I'm going to show you 360 view, degree view of the Concordia. So this is the track. Can you see? Yeah, this one. So I remember Dr. Pervez Qureshi, my brother, he is sitting here. Pervez bhai, when I called him, I told him about my trip to K2. So the most interesting comment I have ever heard about my trip to Concordia was by him. उन्होंने कहा मैंने नहीं पता तो इतना पागल है. Now I think he was so right. Why he was so right? Look at these crevices. Look at these crevices. These are all crevices. This is Concordia, and these are crevices. So on Concordia especially, you don't know where you are stepping your foot. So it's this kind of a train, and is these crevices. I think his comment was justified. Okay, so this is one of the beautiful pictures. It shows you two of these tallest mountains. This is Concordia. This is K2, the second tallest. Then Broad Peak, the 12th tallest. And here we have 11th and 13th, Geshebrum 1 and Geshebrum 2. Yeah, so this is where you see all of them. That is the real panoramic view. Please go back. Please go back. Yeah. Oh, no, that one there. I have sketched. Yeah, this one. So here you see all of them together. So this is K2, this is Broad Peak, and Geshebrum 1 and 2 behind it. These are the four 8,000ers, the only place in the world where you can see the highest, the loftiest mountains of this caliber together with the naked eye. That's near the base camp. That's also the base camp with the K2 in the background. This is K2, Geshebrums, Broad Peak on the left. There's a closer view of the Broad Peak. It's considered one of the easiest. Oh, okay. So this is behind the scene video for about 5 minutes. I'm going to watch with you.
expected to see Ketu, but he made us worried. And that worry came true when we reached there. Kiran, please.
Concordia से आ रहे हो वैसे क्या आ रहे हो? हाँ सर नंबर आया कि
So the next four pictures are my skin. Look at, this is my right arm, and I took these pictures when I came back from Lahore after 15 days. This is my right forearm. You can see sunburn, you can see skin changes. Take a look at these four pictures, please. And my toe, I was about to lose my two nails and the half of my both big toes, because it's a continuous height. It's about 20 to 25 degree angle of inclination on varied landscape, and with all weight being transmitted to your feet. Thank you so much for listening to me. My very sincere thanks to my family, my three kids. Kiran, especially Kiran, Ghazal took her step 2 yesterday. She was very busy studying. And they always do things together, but she couldn't spend much time because she was busy studying and took step 2 yesterday. And all credit, my outstanding and sincere thanks to Kiran and Irfan Mirza, who put all of these presentations together, the videos, the technical part, and all of that is because of Irfan Mirza. So now I will call Shazia. My other half, my best half, to the stage and conclude this ceremony. But before we conclude, I would like to share with you that I'm standing here today before you because of her. I was very, very active in Apna, New York chapter in late 90s, till about 98, 97. And then I somehow, something happened that I stopped going to the Apna meetings. There wasn't anything sour, unpleasant, but somehow I stopped attending all of the Apna events, the activities. I came back to Apna, which I'm very, very happy with. It's very, very nice to be back. After 20 years in 2019, and it's because of her, one of her best friends and her classmates, Dr. Anika is sitting here, the wife of Ansar Bhai, and so Dr. Ansar Loan. So they are classmates from Allama Iqbal. Anika Bhabi ne Shazia ko kaha कि why don't you guys come back? And I came back to Apna. Now she is the push behind the book. I started writing the book, I did the trip in 2015. I started writing the book in 2016. I completed about 60 to 70% of it by the end of 2019, and then COVID started. So everything closed down, and I restarted writing it, the remaining about 20 to 30% of it. I completed, I didn't know what to do, very, very busy at that time. I was supervising the whole borough of Brooklyn for New York State as part of my job. I had private practice in the evening, so my day is still, it's 8 to 8. I didn't know how I was able to complete the book, but she was the force behind to complete this book. Do it. And also about this event, I wasn't sure to hold the book launch ceremony. I thought we'll get the shipment from Amazon, we'll send it to Amazon store, I'll make my friends aware of this by putting the post in all different groups, and then, just start selling it. So she was the push again behind to have this ceremony. Thank you. So over to Shazia to conclude this ceremony.
Salam, good evening everyone. It's so nice to have you guys, and special thanks to all the friends and guests and the family members. I would like to thank once again that you guys are here and made our event memorable. And thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your, the way the weather was it was just crazy outside, and still you guys managed everything. So once again, thank you so much. My best to all of you, and now we'll be starting dinner shortly.
So before that, there's a 10 to 15 minute question answers. If you have any questions, comments about the group, we have 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Artist, congratulations to you on the trip.
That's good. Can you hear me?
जवेद साहब आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारक हो कि आपके पास इतना वंडरफुल ट्रिप किया, किताब बहुत अच्छी किताब लिखी, ब्यूटीफुल पिक्चर्स हैं, लेकिन जो सब सवाल लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि वो कहते हैं आपका वजन कितना था जब आप उसको गए?
So I gained a lot of weight during the past about year to year and a half. So at that time, you can see it from the pictures, and that is such an interesting question. मैंने तकरीबन 12-13 दिन I didn't have a full meal. We had all different types of foods. We had a cook. We have all the cooking equipment, but somehow क्योंकि वो kerosene oil से बनाया जाता था food, somehow I couldn't eat. I basically lived on cookies, on biscuits, on nuts and Coke. Coke, like every half an hour to an hour, I'll take a cup of Coke to get energy. So I lost, I don't know how much, but when I came back, I think I might have lost about maybe
Still more.
At that time, 10 to 15 feet in about 14 days. So I gained, some during the past year and a half.
और सेकंड क्वेश्चन है कि आपने जो हिप से कैसे अवॉइड की हिप इन हाई एल्टीट्यूड पर भी एडिमा से आपने क्या ट्रीटमेंट की आपको हुआ या नहीं हुआ या you took some treatment for that prevention treatment or no?
So I think we didn't have any problems. We did some enduring exercises before we went, and also we spent a night at Skoli just to acclimatize our bodies. And again we have another rest day on our first stop, Jula, just to acclimatize to the low oxygen content. And the other thing we used to do was that we tried to have frequent stops. Like the hike was for the whole day, for about 8 to 11 hours a day, and we used to have a stop after every, let's say, about hour and a half to 2. We will sit down. So that also might have contributed to some acclimatization, but we didn't have any mountain sickness. We fortunately didn't get any edema or the high altitude sickness.
Sorry, I think Dr. Sirhandi is trying to speak, so Dr. Sirhandi, please go ahead.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
This is Marcella. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Well, is there a marked trail? How did you know where to go?
Okay, so it's a total wilderness. As I mentioned there is no human habitat after a Skodi, and there are no roads and no tracks. So I think we had a guide who lived in this area and who was very, very knowledgeable about the whole track. So we followed him, the guide, the cook. The cook was also not just cook, he was both a cook and a guide. So we had two guides and we followed their trail. This brings me to another question, another comment about the difficulty of Concordia track and going to base camp. Even for the Mount Everest now, I won't say it's easy, but you have a clear-cut track. You have to have adventurous spirit, the courage, endurance, and that kind of inspiration and motivation. It's relatively easy because there's a fixed track to Mount Everest with ropes placed right from the base camp to the top of the mountain. So here it was a short answer to your question. We had two very knowledgeable guides and we followed them.
Great, thank you. Wonderful
Javaid sir,
presentation.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, Javaid sir, I'm right here.
Gigi.
So I want to, on behalf of everyone here, compliment you. You're a unique individual and really want to thank you for getting us all together and sharing your remarkable experience with all of us. Having seen those areas, some of those areas myself during my younger days, it's not an easy task. Please tell us, how long did you plan this? And also, what other parts of the world have you been to on some similar expeditions?
So I think I mainly traveled in Pakistan, the north of Pakistan, the northern mountain areas of Pakistan. I've been to French Alps in Switzerland, Swiss Alps, and to all of these tiny hamlets, which are considered the most beautiful places in the world, especially beyond the Lauterbrunnen and also the Wengen. There's an area in Switzerland called Jungfrau. And interestingly, the train goes right up to 10,000 feet, and that part of Switzerland is considered the most beautiful area in the world. I have seen both. I can tell you, I can attest without any prejudice that the types of beauty that we have, not just here, other parts of the country, Neelam Valley and parts of the Gilgit, they are comparable to none, literally none. That part of the Switzerland, which is called Auvergne, Bernard, Central Swiss Alps, that is nothing compared to what we have in Pakistan. The Neelam Valley, especially I would mention Neelam Valley. Neelam Valley starts from Muzaffarabad and it goes right up to Chinese border. It's about 43 kilometers long valley, and interestingly, the boundary between India and Pakistan is only Neelam Valley. And at certain points, that river is just about 10 to 15 feet wide. 10 to 15 feet. Like from here, less than the wall, that's India. This is Pakistan. We see their security forces, border security, our armies. So that part of Pakistan, especially from an area called Atmakam, if you have been to Neelam Valley, Atmakam, Raut Negro, that is probably the most beautiful natural landscape in the world. Concordia is important in a different sense, in a different perspective. It's because of the very high tallest mountains, but the real composition of beauty, like with the mountains, with the waterfalls, with the lakes, lush green plains, and all of these trees, that kind of beauty we have in Neelam Valley, in part of the Gilgit, especially the area called Naltar. If some of you have visited Gilgit and seen that, there's an area called Naltar. That and some parts of the Neelam Valley, they are the most beautiful. And also, I think Dr. I think. No, I think, let me finish my sentence. So also the part of Kagan, I think some of you might have visited Kagan Valley. Naran, Kagan, Naran, you might have heard these names. But the real beauty of Kagan Valley starts from Naran. That's where the regular road ends, and that's where the regular transport ends. You can only go from Naran until Babusar Pass only by feet, by walk, or you have to hire a jeep. Especially I think you've been to Babusar, and we have a gentleman here from Shigar Valley. Shigar Valley, which is in the vicinity of Skardu. He is sitting here. He is a native. He is born in Shigar. Would you please stand up? Yeah. So that part of Kagan Valley, from Naran to Basel, Burabai, and then Babusar, that's also one of the most beautiful. You have to hike, or you have to get a jeep. It's just a jeepable track. Just jeepable track means it's just wide enough to have one jeep. If there's a jeep coming from the opposite side, they have to somehow squeeze and then let the other to pass. It's just one jeep. That part there's some other. I would like to mention another very unique place in Pakistan, which I intentionally didn't mention in the most spectacular and the singular areas that I mentioned in the beginning of my speech. That's Kailash Valley. Kailash people. They are the only people in the world. They are from Akbar the Great. When he came to our land,
Alexander the Great.
was that?
Alexander the Great. Kalash people were.
ओके चलिए मैं उर्दू में कहता हूँ जी। सिकंदर आजम जब बर्रे सगीर में आए तो उन्होंने रेगुलर राउट नहीं अडॉप्ट किया था, which was always the GT road, which was from Central Asia, Afghanistan, Peshawar, and then entering this part of the area which is now Pakistan, travel from Pakistan, from Peshawar to Lahore to Delhi and then to India. क्योंकि राजधानी हमेशा दिल्ली रही थी, except a few years जब अकबर ने लाहौर को अपना दारुल-खुलाफा बनाया, लेकिन अकबर decided to take a different route कि वो उस पे नहीं आए थे, वो जो ट्रेडिशनल जीटी रोड है उस पे नहीं आए थे अकबर, वो उन्होंने अडॉप्ट किया चित्राल वाला रास्ता, वो अफगानिस्तान का वो हिस्सा जो चित्राल के साथ मिलता है, वो उसके रास्ते पाकिस्तान में एंटर हुए और उनके जो सोल्जर्स थे, उनके कारवान के जो लोग थे, उसके कुक्स, उसके बार्बर्स, उसके सोल्जर्स और कुछ और दूसरे लोग जो उसके कारवान का हिस्सा थे, they decided to stay at this place which is called Kafiristan, and Akbar decided to continue. तो वो काफिरिस्तान वो 3 छोटे-छोटे गांव हैं, बरीब, Bambarat and Rambur. So I did that area twice. This जो आपने पूछा है, ये भी I did it on on jeep and also did it on a motorbike. So I think they are asking me to stop. So as I said, कोई क्या कहे, क्या कहे, कितना कहे और कब कहे. I will stop here. Thank you for listening to me.